What's going on, everybody? It is Overreaction Time once again. I am your host, Simon Samano, and look who I got with me for this edition of ORT, the man down in the 305 and the host of Hablemos MMA, also our MMA Junkie reporter extraordinaire, none other than Danny Segura. What's up, Danny? How you doing, man?
Doing good and excited to be back on the show.
Yeah, looking forward to what's in store for you?
Yeah,
well, between what just happened this past week at UFC Vancouver, what we got coming up at UFC 321, and a couple of news and notes, we got a lot to talk about. So you ready to get this thing going?
let's do it.
All right, Kamikaze, you know what time it is. Hit it.
I mean, guys, what are you fucking? Is this tonight's stupid question night? Are you guys that fucking stupid? You can't be that fucking stupid. Who gives a shit? One of the dumbest things I've ever read in my life. Fucking common sense. Everybody knows that.
All right, before we get started here, Danny, I got to ask the audience now. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It means a lot. I want to get this thing going. I want to get ORT growing. So please, if you can do that, I would greatly appreciate it. And with that out of the way, Danny, now let's get to talking about some fights. And we're going to start from this past weekend at UFC Vancouver. In the main event, wow, shocking result that I didn't see coming. Reinier de Ridder quits on the stool after the fourth round in a tough fight with Brendan Allen, who took this fight on short notice and ultimately made him quit on the stool. And Danny, I'm so shocked by what happened. Got me thinking. Here's what I got for you, man. We overestimated RDR, and his loss to Brendan Allen, it proved that he isn't UFC champion material.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I don't think that's an overreaction. Because it matters how he lost, right? It almost felt like he gave up. It almost felt like he quit in there. And obviously it's a lot easier to say than to actually go in there and fight, and I'm not trying to be a keyboard warrior here, but yeah, like if there's anything that, because we see all kinds of champions, right? Wrestlers, strikers, right? Like from Anderson Silva to Merab Dvalishvili, the wide range of people that make it to the championship belt is so vast, right? Like we see literally all kinds of facets from MMA being displayed there at the top. But what all those guys do share in common is toughness and grit and determination and heart. At some point, those champions have been tested, right? And with RDR, like I kind of felt like we got a little bit of that DNA in that Robert Whittaker fight, but in this one, yeah, I mean, how can you think he's gonna win a title looking like that?
No, man. I mean, listen, my viewing experience of UFC Vancouver, I watched it on Saturday night after it happened. I saw the results, so I was spoiled on the results. So I watched the fight, and I tweeted this on Saturday night when I was watching, Danny. I couldn't believe watching the first round and then knowing that it was going to be him quitting on the stool. I was flabbergasted, dude. I couldn't believe the way that first round looked. RDR was in complete control. He had mount multiple times. He had the back. And I'm watching this fight, and I'm like, wow, this is going to end with him quitting on the stool. And the reason why I feel so strongly about him not being UFC champion material, look, dude, it's this. I didn't think that he got bludgeoned or grounded and pound. The ground and pound was vicious. He just kind of gassed out. I mean, look, I hate to be the keyboard warrior as well, but like RDR was on a nice run in the UFC, came over from one championship where he was a double champion. But if you're going to be a UFC champion, you got to show that you're made of something more. And this one right here, I think, just exposed him.
Yeah. And he's been sort of exposed, and this is what's worrisome. He's shown this before. For those that followed his run over at One Championship in the rematch with Anatoly Malikin, he quit as well. The referee stand him up. I believe it was in the third or fourth round. And they were going to reset the fight, get them striking again because there wasn't much going on in the ground. And RDR couldn't stand up. He rolled over, got on his knees, and he couldn't physically get up. The referee warned him, hey, if you don't stand up, I'm going to call this a TKO loss. He couldn't stand up, and he lost the rematch to Anatoly Malikin. So we've seen this before, and that's the thing. Like, if you see a fighter that comes up short on technique or something, you can make that up. You can learn. You can study. But the heart is something you either have or you don't. And again, it sounds horrible to me be calling this.
We're not in there, right? We're not in there
one
fighting, taking
championship.
punches. But what our eyes aren't
Yeah.
lying to us, though. We just saw what we saw. We saw a guy put it on the stool.
And like you said, he didn't get beat up badly. I mean, there wasn't much ground and pound from Brandon Allen. Yeah, he had a couple of shots here and there, but he wasn't battered.
Right.
And it also wasn't a super high paced fight where you go, man, these guys just are completely exhausted. I said this on Fight Night, and Bilal Muhammad actually retweeted it the morning after. But there was one fighter there that looked like he took the fight on short notice, and it wasn't Brandon Allen.
Right.
It was RDR. If I would have told you the story, hey, not mentioning any names, there's a fighter there that took the fight on a couple weeks' notice. The other guy had been training for 5 rounds. You look at that fight, you go, oh, yeah, that was, of course, RDR, right? Who took the fight on short notice. Nope. That was Brandon Allen. But yes, extremely disappointing and shocking and surprising for all the reasons you mentioned. I mean, this guy is running the UFC, was stellar. And for it to end this way, and I'm not saying to end in the sense that they're going to cut him from the UFC, but this current run, I never saw this coming.
Yeah, I didn't see it coming, man. And I look, the whole gas tank thing, this wasn't a fight that happened at elevation, right? It was in Vancouver, right at sea level. So you don't even really have that as an excuse. I think back to his interview with MMA Junkie Radio leading up, and the thought of Nasruddin Imavov getting the title shot over him. Immediately, he told George and goes, no, fuck off, man. It's mine. Like he was very sure. And so that's what makes this so shocking and so disappointing. I hope he bounces back. I hope I'm wrong with this overreaction. I really do. And I hope he has another run in him, but I just don't see it happening, Danny. So anyways, those are our thoughts. We're in agreement. We're in agreement that we're 1 for 1, Danny. We're
not an overreaction. Yeah.
All right, man. Well, let's get it going because I got a lot more coming your way. All right. And now we're going to switch and talk about UFC 321 coming up on Saturday night. That's going down in Abu Dhabi. And of course, it's headlined by the heavyweight title fight between Tom Aspinall and Cyril Gane. Now, this is Tom Aspinall fighting for the actual heavyweight championship. For the first time. Of course, there was a long time where it was disputed. John Jones was the heavyweight champion, yada, 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 and all that. So you consider what the road we've taken to get to this fight, Danny. And I'll tell you this right now. Think about the John Jones buildup, okay, to this fight before I give you this overreaction. Anything other than a dominant performance from Tom Aspinall would be disappointing.
Not an overreaction. Not an overreaction at all. I think that's a completely sound take. Look, we've been talking about, and the media kind of falls a little, takes a little blame for this. And I guess
blaming
we'll find
us.
out if we were right or not.
Danny, you're blaming us. Let's hear it. You're going to blame us for something.
Well, we've been talking about Tom Aspinall being the guy, right? Like everyone, it kind of reminds me of a little bit of the Patchy Mix situation. It's like, oh, you don't know. And the media in a way. And I feel like I was one of the few that kind of took a step back and be like, wait a minute, there's still a lot of stuff we don't know. But I did notice this love and this sort of train thought amongst media members of like, hey, this is the best bantamweight ever. I mean, whoa, this is this, that. And look, we're 30 minutes into Patchy Mix's career, and he's looked not even like a top 10 UFC fighter, losing to a guy who wasn't even in the rankings in his second fight not so long ago. Obviously, Tom Aspinall's situation is much different because he's been in the UFC. He's been winning.
Analogy, though. I get
won an interim belt.
Yeah.
But we've been telling everybody, and I personally, and I'll take blame for that, and we'll see if I'm right along with my other colleagues that have been on the same train. We've been telling one, this is the guy. This guy's better than Ganu. This guy's better than John Jones. This guy is truly the undisputed champion. This is the guy. This is the guy you need to pay attention to. And if he doesn't run through Cyril Gane,
got to run through.
There's gonna be a lot of questions
about dude. And you know what?
No,
listen, Danny. You say he's got to run through him. Actually, yeah, I got you. He actually has to run through him. And you know what, Danny? We've built him up for so long, and you're saying he's got to run through Cyril Gane. That, you know what, bro? Scratch that, dude. My overreaction actually is maybe more like if Tom Aspinall doesn't beat Cyril Gane more convincingly than John Jones did, even that will still be disappointing.
I mean, the John Jones performance is super impressive, hard to beat, but it's got to be something similar. Like it's got to be like,
I mean, given all the buildup,
A+ and Cyril Gane is B-. Like there's got to be a clear gap in level here, and there's got to be a finish as well. Not only that, but look at Cyril Gane. Look at his last performance. Like a lot of people, including myself, thought he lost against Volkov. So he's really gotta win this one. There's a lot of pressure on Tom Aspinall's shoulders right now.
And you got to think about John Jones's presence lingering over this fight and hovering over this fight, dude. Can you imagine, Danny, what it's going to look like Saturday night on John Jones's social media, if heaven forbid Tom Aspinall loses this fight to Cyril Gane, can you imagine how
I
insufferable
can, and I'm already
it's going to
dreading
be?
it because we're gonna have to screenshot like 50 times because he deletes everything for whatever reason. He doesn't really sort of stand on his words or on his tweets. And yeah, he's probably got like 20 tweets drafted right now, and he's gonna make the whole thing about himself. And yeah, and then look, if and props to John Jones. If Aspinall were to lose, then lose bad. I don't think it happens, but let's pretend it does. John Jones might have been right all along,
Oh
right?
my gosh, dude! The egg we're gonna have on our face, the egg we're gonna have to wipe off of our faces. The media, like you said, the way
Yeah.
we've been thinking, Tom Aspinall is the one to give John Jones a challenge. If he loses to Cyril Gane, it's going to be absolutely insufferable. But even if he doesn't lose and he just struggles and ekes a decision out, or he can't beat him faster than 2 minutes and 4 seconds, which is what it took John Jones to submit him, it's still going to be insufferable. So you're right. He has to run through him, dude. Otherwise, oh my goodness, we're just going to deal with like the worst version. Well, maybe not the worst version of John
Yeah,
Jones.
maybe not the
There are
worst.
some pretty
Hopefully not.
bad versions, but
Yeah,
it's going
yeah,
to
yeah.
be a super insufferable version of John Jones on social media for sure, man. Anyways, dude. All right, let's move on from that fight now, and let's talk about the co-main event at UFC 321. Okay, and that is the vacant strawweight women's strawweight title. The vacant title fight between Mackenzie Dern and Virna Jandiroba. Now, Danny, before I give you this, I need you to think back to what we all thought about Mackenzie Dern before she joined the UFC in 2018, how highly regarded she was, and the rocky road that she has taken to get to this title fight. For me to tell you this, man, that if Mackenzie Dern doesn't win this vacant title, she's officially a bust.
Ooh, I think that's an overreaction. I really
Come
do.
on.
I don't know how you can be a bust and still fight for a world championship.
Well, I need you to consider the rocky road that we got to this point, man. I think it's even debatable that she should even be getting this title shot. She's kind of only getting it because Zhang Weili vacated the title to go up to challenge Valentina at flyweight. So, she's kind of
Sure. Yeah.
backpedaling into this title shot. I mean, she really is. She's 4-4 in her last 8 fights. Granted, just coming off 2 wins in a row against Lupi Godinez and the rematch with Amanda Ribas. But I don't know, does she definitively deserve this? So that's why I'm saying, dude, she needs to
I think she
win
did.
this fight.
Look, if Zhang Weili were defending her belt, yeah, of course, Virna Jandiroba is supposed to get that title shot, no doubt. But since you need 2 participants instead of 1 and
She's
for this title
she's
fight,
backpedaling into it. Yeah.
she is the second most deserving person in
I
that
got you.
division.
I'm saying she's being gifted. She's being gifted this title
She's
shot.
not gifted if she's deserving.
Well, she's only deserving because Zhang Weili vacated. If she hadn't vacated, she would not be getting this title shot right now. Or at least we don't think she would deserve this title shot right now. So the door opens. She has an opportunity here, right? She has an opportunity, Mackenzie Dern does. You got to think about how much we built her up. And even in her own words, right? Even in her own words, she would bring up the Ronda Rousey comparisons, right?
Yeah.
Because she heard them. And she said at one point early in her career that she's going to show what she's made of after her debut. It's been rocky, man. She's shown questionable striking for the last 8 years, 9 years in the UFC. I can't believe it's been almost a decade that she's been in the UFC. But for the last 7, 8 years in the UFC, she's shown questionable striking. Okay. It's been a rocky road. She's 4-4 in her last 8 fights. You consider that she shouldn't have gotten this title shot, and she's only getting it because of a vacancy, right? And then consider that she's fighting Virna Jandiroba, who she's already beaten, who's a nice stylistic matchup for her because she's also a jiu-jitsu ace. But Mackenzie Dern is top of the line jiu-jitsu ace, right? She's supposed to be there. So if she doesn't win this, man, I'm gonna officially label her a bust.
It'll be a big. It'll certainly be a disappointment because, as you mentioned, things have accommodated in a way that she should win this fight. And I don't know what the odds are, but I'm assuming she's a favorite going into this bout. But at the same time, Mackenzie Dern has how many headliners has the UFC gotten from her? Right, she's fought in 1, 2, 3, four main events. This will be a co-main event right here. She's how many times like been featured in Fight of the Nights or Performance of the Nights? Multiple. Been in tons of main cards of pay-per-views as well. Like the UFC has gotten her a lot of good value, and this is a prospect they recognized early on. They put her in a developmental deal. They sent her to LFA, and in this last decade, sure, things haven't gone as well as some hope for, or maybe she hoped for. But man, has the UFC gotten a lot out of her.
They have.
And look at the fan base, like the champion or whoever was the champion before, Zhang Weili. I believe she doesn't even scratch. She's like 800,000 followers on Instagram or something like that. Mackenzie Dern is almost twice as that, like 1.5 million. She's also helped bring in some of the jiu-jitsu community, helped them bring in Mark Zuckerberg to the UFC Apex. I think the UFC has gotten a lot from her. Could they have gotten a lot more? Sure, but she's not a bust. A bust would be like, well, we'll see what the rest of his career has in the UFC, but like a Buchecha or someone that has a really, really high pedigree, and man, they didn't even scratch the surface. Mackenzie Dern has been a top fighter for a while now, and you know it's not easy to do.
That's fair. That's fair. That's a good way to end that. Let's see what she shows us on Saturday night or on Saturday. Let's see what she shows us, right? I think
another bust, Ben Askren.
Well, yes, Ben Askren is obviously a bust. I think was obviously a bust.
I'm just saying Mackenzie Dern is far from that.
All right. I appreciate that. So I disagree, but if you think it's an overreaction, then it is an overreaction, my friend. And I've got more for you, all right? So let's move on to the next one, all right? There's another big fight at UFC 321, and that's Umar Nurmagomedov returning to fight again. He last fought in January. He's going to face Mario Bautista, everybody's favorite legend killer, Mario Bautista, on Saturday. Before I get to my overreaction, Danny, I want to play a clip from an interview that Javier Mendez had with Farah Hanoun, our very own Farah Hanoun, this past week. So, Kamikaze, go ahead and roll that for me.
There's a loss. It's a different regard that guys hold Khabib and his team. But do you feel like there's any pressure on him at all to go out there and have a definitive performance, or do you feel like a win is enough?
No, there's extreme pressure on him. He's had a lot of pressure on this one, and because you got to understand, he carries the last name.
Right.
There's a big honor in that. And Usman, his brother's undefeated. Khabib's undefeated. He was undefeated. There's a lot of pressure. He was doing what Khabib was doing at an earlier stage. So there was a lot of comparisons. So, you know, I called him Young Eagle. So come on, you got to be realistic. There's a lot of pressure on him. And now he has to rebound from the loss and come back stronger.
All right, Danny. Now you heard right there from Javier Mendez, the man himself, talking about the pressure that Umar Nurmagomedov faces in this fight at UFC 221. And I know we just talked about pressure essentially on Tom Aspinall, and we essentially talked about pressure on Mackenzie Dern, but you heard extreme pressure from Javier Mendez. Those were his words, extreme pressure. And I think, Danny, that it's so extreme that nobody at UFC 321 has more pressure to win than Umar Nurmagomedov.
Complete overreaction.
Complete? You're full of it. Let's hear it.
Overreaction. We just talked about Tom Aspinall. Like that guy is the heavyweight champion of the world, right? And we've seen also what Mario Bautista has been able to do and pull off some big upsets as well. Look, Mario Bautista has what it takes to win this fight, make it close, and maybe even win it. I still obviously have Umar Nurmagomedov as the favorite, and I do think he eventually challenges Merab Dvalishvili again. But no, the person who has the most pressure at UFC 321 is the headliner, the one carrying the card, the one that's been saying for years he's the best heavyweight in the world. And now he's fighting a guy who questionably won his last fight and got beat pretty badly by John Jones. As you mentioned, Umar can have a close fight here, win, and still look good and impress, and people still hold him in high regard, and maybe even want an immediate rematch then, or a rematch with Merab Dvalishvili. Whereas Tom Aspinall, like he cannot make this close. He's got to win this fight.
Okay, but in Umar's sense, you heard it there from Javier Mendez, man. I mean, there's pressure that we're not really hip to, but we know it's there. We know it's always there when you are a Khabib fighter, right? Mm-hmm. It's always there. And consider where we're at with that team. Usman coming off of his win over Hughes and retaining his PFL championship. Islam's fighting for the welterweight championship, right? He's been dominating. Now you got Umar coming off this title fight loss to Merab, you can't really follow that up with 2 losses in a row because you know why? Khabib fighters, they just don't lose once, let alone twice in a row. So that's why I'm telling you, dude, if coach is going to tell me the pressure is extreme, I believe him. He's got more pressure than anybody else.
100%. The pressure is high, but it's not more than anyone else. I would actually dare to say that Tom Aspinall is probably the guy with the most pressure in the entire UFC like 2025 calendar. I mean, I can't think of anybody who is in a more dire must-win situation. It's him.
It's him. Okay. What do you think, though? How do you think this fight's going to play out? Let's get your take on how the fight's going to play.
I
Because you
think Umar
mentioned
wins this.
Batista's been effective, and you think he can win. He's definitely
He
a
can
live
make the
dog.
fight tough.
He's a live dog, you think?
Yeah, but I'm still going with Umar. I think Umar, technically speaking, is the best fighter at 135 pounds. It just so happens that there's other components.
You think? I'm sorry. That's an overreaction.
Yeah.
What did you say?
And he proved it. No. That's no reaction.
Wait. I need you to repeat it for me, please, sir.
Umar Nurmagomedov, technically speaking, is the most technical fighter at 135 pounds.
Get this guy out. Why are you on my show? What are you talking about?
That is not controversial whatsoever.
Wait, are you disrespecting Marab?
I'm not disrespecting Marab at all. I think Marab is great. But there are other intangibles that make up a champion or make up the best in totality, the best fighter in a division. Look, if that was a 3-round fight,
like winning
Umar
championship rounds in a championship fight, my friend.
What's up?
Winning the championship rounds in a championship fight. Those are
cardio. Won that for Marab, not skill.
You're killing me, bro.
When they were both at the same level of cardio, one fighter was superior than the other, and that was Umar Nurmagomedov. But Marab's cardio is so good that it turns it into a weapon. Umar faded, and Marab went on to win the fight, but because he was better conditioned and had higher pressure. But technically speaking, Umar was superior in that fight.
Well, then fine. If he's the most technically sound fighter, then you just proved my point, my friend. He's got the most pressure at UFC 321. I just flipped that on you. All right.
That is a failed logic. One thing doesn't equal the other. There's a correlation there. But
no. Okay. All right. Let's get through these last couple overreactions because I can't wait to get you off my show now, dude. All right, let's go. We got a couple of news and notes that I want to talk about. All right. We're moving on from UFC 321. And let's talk about Khamzat Chimaev, dude. Khamzat Chimaev has been calling for a light heavyweight title shot with Alex Pereira. He spent the past couple of weeks doing that. He did it last week in an interview. Let me look up who it was with. In an interview with a reporter named Aslanbek Badayev. I apologize if I butchered that name. But basically, in a nutshell, he said he would love to fight for a second belt. And he said that the Alex Pereira matchup is a very good, quote unquote, very good matchup for him, which I don't doubt, Danny, okay, that it's a very good matchup. But, dude, let me just hit you with this, man, that Khamzat, he does not deserve to challenge Alex Pereira for the light heavyweight title.
Not an overreaction. The dude just won the belt, and there's so many contenders in that division. Fluffy, Nasser Imambov. Just a week ago, RDR was in the conversation.
We just lost one.
Yeah, and maybe gained another one, right? Brendan Allen, a little far, but yeah, I get your point. There's so much work to do at 185 pounds. Joe Pyfer on his way up. Like, that division has current contenders and surging contenders. And Khamzat, as the champion, needs to address that. So, the guy is absolutely nuts for talking about a fight with Alex Pereira at light heavyweight. No.
Yeah, I mean, I could get on board with it, but I need to see a couple of title defenses at middleweight first.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know I've been on this show before, and I said, I think maybe it was last week or the week before on ORT that, I think Alex Pereira should move up to heavyweight, right? He should be able to move up to heavyweight. But the key there is that he actually deserves it. He's earned it, right? He's earned it through wins. He's earned it through domination. He's earned it through activity. Khamzat has wins and he has domination, but he has not been active at all. And now that he's a champion, we want to see him be an active champion. That's the way, to me, that he would earn the right to challenge whoever the light heavyweight champion would be. Like, I get it. He wants it right now because it's Alex Pereira and he thinks he can beat a guy who's primarily a striker. Cool. I get that. But, dude, he does not deserve it. Does not deserve it, man.
Not at all. He
No.
does not deserve the. There's a lot to be done from Khamzat Chimaev, and I get it. It'll be a big fight. Obviously, if it gets booked, like we
It
would
would be huge.
watch it, and it'll do great numbers. But in terms of sporting merit, he's far from deserving a title shot at 205.
All right. Well, I'm glad we see eye to eye on that one, dude. And let's go ahead and let's move on and talk about our last topic of the day. All right. Last topic on this episode of ORT, and that's going to be a fight, Danny, that was booked this past week. I think it was talked about for a little bit, and then it became official last week that Sean Brady is going to fight Michael Morales at UFC 322 next month. That fight is happening. And, I'm thinking back to what Sean Brady just did in his most recent fight, Danny, and how he is now fighting a Michael Morales. And the way the division has shaken out, to say this, that Sean Brady, he got screwed over by the UFC.
Yeah, he did. He did. Sean Brady shouldn't be fighting Michael Morales. Leon Edwards should be fighting Michael Morales. That's the fight that Michael Morales and his team wanted originally. The guy's coming off loss, Sean Brady, former champion. It just seems like it's, he needs to take a step down. While on the other side, you got a Sean Brady that beat Leon Edwards, submitted him, and and now he's taking that next step up. So yeah, 100%. Sean Brady got screwed here, and fighting Michael Morales undefeated. The guy's a tank, got all the confidence in the world, comes from a really good gym. Yeah, and that a win over him won't necessarily get you a title shot, right?
It's not going to get him any. This
is not good for Sean Brady. Sean Brady's in a pretty shitty spot, and it
Yeah,
sucks. He's open about it. They asked him about it, and the way they kind of set it up was either you take this fight or you won't be fighting for a while.
So he's almost like he acknowledged that he got screwed.
Yeah,
he kind of accepts that he got screwed, and I get it. I this is a situation where fighters fight, right? And I think that's basically what his message was like, fighters fight. Like, I took this fight. Actually, I'm looking at the quote right here from the Brady Bag Show. On his Brady Bag Show, his podcast, he said, "I took this fight because fighters fight, and there's literally no other options. From what the UFC told me, this is it. This is the only guy I could fight, or else I wasn't fighting until next year." I mean, dude, that's just rough for a guy who in his most recent fight beat a former champion who at the time was still number 1 ranked in the world, right? And then to go from that to have to fight the number 8 guy in the world, he's got no upside to winning this fight whatsoever. I feel bad for him. He got screwed over, and this is a very easy way that you get to squander your title shot, is by losing this fight to a tough Michael Morales.
100%. Why isn't Bilal Muhammad fighting Sean Brady? And Bilal Muhammad is not fighting.
That was the rematch to make, probably, right?
Yeah. Or wait, who's Bilal fighting again?
He's fighting Ian Machado Gary.
Ian Machado Gary. My bad. Yeah. Bilal should have been fighting Sean Brady. Number 1 versus number 2. Winner gets the champion. Simple as that. But it looks like the UFC has other plans, and somehow number 2 finds himself fighting number 8. So yeah, questionable matchmaking, and
you could have easily, Danny. I mean, you could have easily gone the Sean Brady Bilal rematch, right, and then booked Ian Machado Gary. Ian Machado Gary could be fighting Michael Morales. Or
6 versus 8 makes sense.
Like
they got
right?
beef or something. Michael Morales doesn't like him at all. That would have been a fine fight as well. Yeah. Poor Sean Brady. I feel bad for him. Tough fight, man.
And if we were to expand this overreaction just a little bit further, Danny, I would just expand to this. Sean Brady was on the Ariel Helwani show last week, and it was on the same day on Wednesday, like simultaneously as that California State Athletic Commission meeting was happening, where they were talking about the Ali Act and revising it, and they ultimately approved it. The big topic, a big discussion point there is rankings, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how the rankings won't matter. This is the UFC proving, right, that the rankings don't matter. I think even Sean Brady said something to the effect in that interview with Ariel Helwani. Hunter Campbell told me that the rankings don't matter. So, I mean, just to expand this thought a little bit further, and you can chime in however you want, Danny, just look at what the UFC is doing and how they disregard rankings. And now they're going to take this over to boxing, and rankings and whatever their, UFC league, boxing league is going to be. Those rankings aren't going to matter. It's just going to be the same thing, but in a different sport. That's why a lot of people think that they're going to ruin boxing in that way.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, in boxing, there's such thing as mandatories. Like a fighter cannot sit out with a belt. A promoter cannot, De La Hoya or say like Eddie Hearn cannot strip and take the title away from someone. That title belongs to someone, and it's an independent from an independent body that sort of regulates the sport. And they have mandatories. Like doesn't matter how shitty you are, if you put in the work and you deserve to fight for the belt. It doesn't matter if there's a bigger money fight out there. You have to do that mandatory or else you get stripped. Here in the UFC, obviously, there's not that. And more often than not, they sort of chase the money, which is why we don't always see, and we should be seeing number one versus the champion. Number one versus the champion. But oftentimes it's the champion versus whoever's available in the top 10. So this is a perfect example of why the Muhammad Ali act is important, and how much control the UFC has, and the type of control they want to bring into boxing, which ultimately, puts an unfair balance on the field between promoter and fighter. And fighter, you could get screwed, like in this case, Sean Brady.
Yeah, I know we went off on a little tangent there, but I see the correlation, and
fair. Yeah,
had to bring it up, man. But I feel bad for Sean Brady. He's getting screwed over. Hope he wins. He's right there on the precipice of a title shot. So I hope he wins so that he is at least still in consideration. But we will see how it shakes out when they fight next month.
We'll see. It's a tough fight.
It is a tough fight. All right, man. Well, Danny, the time for overreacting has come to an end. Dude, I want to get you off my show right now for that terrible disrespect.
Too bad we did like 50-50.
I'm ready to kick you off, dude. All right. And when I cool down, I will welcome you back. I will welcome you back when I'm good and ready at some point.
Okay.
Right now, I'm kicking you off the show.
It's the truth. It's the truth.
Yeah. Okay. All right. It's puro miedra. That's what it is. All right. All right. Well, everybody, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Danny's got me all flustered. That's what's happening with me right now in that Marab tape. But I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and we will see you on the next edition of ORT. Dana, take it away.
MMA Junkie AI.